Alright, so for lesson 2 in chapter 4, we're going to open up the file 4-4. So we're going to go down here where all of our stuff is saved. And we're going to open up 4-4. So we should have just a file with all these random little shapes on it. Okay, so what you're going to do is first you're going to get your selection tool and you're going to click on your yellow rectangle. And we're going to go to Object on the menu bar, go to Arrange, and click Bring Forward. So I'm going to go to Object, I'm going to go to Arrange and Bring Forward. And you see that that brings it in front of the green circle right here. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to click on this red square. And alright, so we've clicked the red square, and we're going to go to Object, Arrange, and Bring to Front. Object, Arrange, and Bring to Front. So that's going to bring it in front of all the shapes. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to select both the yellow rectangle and the blue circle. Okay, so we're going to select both of those. And then we're going to click Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. So we're just kind of going through and seeing what this does when we bring these in. If I had selected them, that would have helped us. So Bring to Front. So those are now in the front. Okay, so that should be what it looks like at this point. The next thing we're going to do is going to click on the green circle, Object, Arrange, and Bring to Front. Okay, so that brings that one forward. And then we're going to select everything. So Command A, that selects all, and we're going to align horizontal centers. So we're going to go to our alignment panel that's right here. And I'm just going to put my alignment panel here. And we're going to align our horizontal centers, so make sure we're clicking the same button. And so you'll see what that is. So the blue circle should be completely hid behind the green circle because it's a lot smaller. Next, we're going to deselect all, so we're going to click over here on our pasteboard. And then we're going to click the center of the green circle. We're going to press and hold Command, and then click the center of the green circle again. Okay, so what that does is it selects the blue circle that's behind it. We're going to go to Object, Arrange, and Bring Forward. Object, Arrange, and Bring Forward. Alright, so next what we're going to do is we're going to deselect all, select the blue circle, and press and control Command. So we're going to deselect everything, click the blue circle, we're going to click Command, and we're going to click the center of the blue circle, which will give us the green circle. Alright. And then we are going to, while still pressing and holding Command, we're going to click the blue center again. So we're going to do it again, and that will give us the yellow rectangle right here. And then we're going to click the blue center one more time to select the red square while holding Command down. So now we have the red square. So that's how, if you need to get something that's way very far in the back, you can just use Command and keep clicking that top layer until you go farther back. Alright, so this is all you need to do right here. So the first thing I need you to submit for this one is this file right here. So it should be arranged like this. So Command Shift 4 and do your screenshot here. So that's the first file. Alright, the next thing we're going to open is up, and you can save it. Okay, we're just going to, so the next thing we're going to open up is going to be 4-5. Okay. I'm going to open up 4-5, and I'm going to put 5, and I'm going to push Update Links. Alright, and I'm just going to push Close. That's fine. And it's going to be highlighted in some of the text. Don't freak out about that. It's completely fine. Alright, so we're going to save this as Layers Intro. File Save As. And name it Layers Intro. And push Save. And save this wherever you save your files at. Alright, so we're going to click on our layers over here, and we're going to open up our layers panel and click to see what all we got over here. So we have all these different layers. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create some sub-layers within this. Actually, no, we're not. We're not going to create sublayers within this. So right now, everything on this page is within layer 1. That's why when you open up layer 1, there's a whole lot of stuff right there. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to double click layer 1, and that opens up this option box. And we're going to rename this one to Tints. Okay, and we're going to leave these pre-selected things the way they are and press OK. Then we're going to click the New Layer button, which is right here. and we're going to name, and then we can double click it, and we're going to rename it, and we're going to rename it to images, and then we're going to change the color from red to orange. Then we're going to press OK. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go a different way to create a new layer, and we're going to go to this right here, this little options button, and go to new layer, and that will open it up directly to where we can add this way. And we're going to name this one text, and we're going to change the color to purple. So text, we're changing the color over here, and we're going to go down and find purple. And I'm going to click violet, and we're going to say okay. So I have tints, which is light blue, images, which is orange, and text, which is going to be the violet color. So once you have those, get your selection tool. Make sure your selection tool is active. I'm just pushing V to make sure mine is active. And then I'm going to click the 7 images on the spread. So I have an image here. I'm going to push Shift, click this image, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I should have 7 images total selected. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to click and drag those selected items from the tints layer up to the images layer panel. So if I extend this right here, you'll see that I have 7 of those selected. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And I'm going to just drag those up into my images. So you might have to do this one at a time, but that's totally fine. Doesn't take that long. So as we're dragging those in, what these are doing is it's moving those to a different layer. So if I was to hide everything in the images layer, all my pictures would hide. Okay. All right. So I'm going to select the 4 text frames on the left page, and then I'm going to click this, and then I'm going to put those in the text layer. So I'm going to do this frame, push down Shift, this one, and this one. I'm going to open those back up, and I'm going to put those into my text layer. So this is a really good way to make sure that you're keeping your files organized. So if I need to make sure that I hide all my text, I hide it there, all my images are hidden there, and then I just have colors left on the last thing. Okay, so we're going to click on the text layer on the layers panel and click on the rectangle tool. So I'm going to click on text, I'm going to get my rectangle tool, and I'm going to draw a small rectangle anywhere on the page. So I am going to hide my pictures whenever I do this. So I'm going to just hide this. So I'm going to draw my rectangle anywhere on the page. So I'm just going to go boop right there. Alright, so I'm going to verify that the fill button is active on the tools panel, which means it's in the front. And I'm going to make it tan. So I'm going to change go to my swatches, and I'm going to find tan. So there we have tan. And I want to make sure that my stroke is not active. So I'm going to open up stroke and just scroll up here and select none. So I should have a square like this. Now I'm going to open up my transform panel, click the top left button, reference point, and I want this to start in the top left of my board. So I'm going to do X and Y at both 0. And you'll see that that moves my little tan box. And then I'm going to do my height and width. So my height and width need to change because I want this to take up the whole space of my board here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the width 12.5 and the height is going to be 4.75. So once I have those typed in, you see that it takes up everything right there. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my text below that. I'm going to turn that on. Okay. And what I did is I dragged that rectangle that I just drew to the bottom of this layer in my text layer. That way I could still see my text as I was going. Okay, so this should cover the entire spread because the rectangle is the newest object related. It's at the top of the stacking order. We could have done this multiple ways. I'm going to undo what I just did. While that rectangle is selected, I'm going to go to Object, Arrange, and I'm going to go to Send to Back. And that will actually send it back just like what I did. So that just moved it from being this first item listed here to the very bottom item listed there. Alright, so once we have that, we're going to drag the selected items button down to the tints layer. So we're gonna drag our rectangle down to the tents layer. Okay, so it's now on the tents layer. Okay, so we should have text, images, and tents. Alright, so the rectangle is moved to the tents layer. It is at the top of the stacking order on the tents layer, so the green tents are not visible. So the green tents are not visible in these. Okay. Alright, so next we are going to click Object and Send to Back. And so I still have that done. So my Object, Arrange, Send to Back. And now you'll see that my green is showing up. Alright, so this is a good place to save. So File, Save Your Work. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the order of your layers on the Layers panel. So we're going to switch to the Selection tool. So just push V on your keyboard, click in the pasteboard to deselect everything. And you're going to drag the Tents layer to the top of the Layers panel. So Tents should be on very top. So we're going to click and drag them up. Alright, so a thick line is going to appear whenever you go to drag these guys. You see that little line that's moving with my mouse? That's what's going to be moving with it. Alright, so next we're going to drag the text layer to the very top. And so we're just moving these around just so you can see what happens when these are all top. And so we're going to put the images layer back on top. So you should have tents on the very bottom, text in the middle, and images on the very top. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to click the empty square next to the text layer name. So if we look at text layer name, we're going to click that little square. And we're going to lock it. So this selects that, but this little empty square right here, we can click right there, and that's going to lock everything right there. So I can't make any changes while that locks on now. So if you've done something and you know everything in that layer is exactly the way you want it, you don't want to accidentally mess it up, click on that lock and it will lock it in place so that you don't get messed up. So once you're in a good spot, you can save this file. So File, Save, and we are almost done. Alright, so we're going to click the triangle next to the Images button. Okay, so right, so that just opens it up so we can see all the things within our images. Okay, we're going to select the first 4 small frames on the bottom of the layout. So the first 4 of these, we're going to select those. And you see as I select them, those are highlighted right there. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is Object and Group. We're going to go to Object and Group. Where's Group? You can also go right click and group, but for some reason they are not working for me. So we're going to do this. Okay, so those are selected, Object and Group. There we go. Alright, so now those are all grouped together, and we can click the triangle to expand the group folder. So that just makes that folder a little bit bigger. And then we're going to click the one that we left out of it. So the last one right here. And we're going to drag him and drop him into that group. Okay, so we're just going to drag into that group. Okay, so you'll see now it's in that group. Alright. I'm going to save right here so this video doesn't go over.